Hello Internet, my name is Chamomile, and this video will show you how to turn a professional GMing gig into a Kickstarter career that will pay you full-time money. You will first need to have a professional GMing career, so I'll put a link to that video in the description. You can try to skip straight to Kickstarter, but you will need several $100s of seed money, and also you will need to be able to make a tabletop RPG book that people actually want. It's easy to know what people want when you're running 5 or 6 games a week, but if you want to try your luck skipping straight to step 5 of this process, then hey, go for it. I'm not your dad. Step 5. With an average of 4 players per game, 5 games per week, and $15 per player per session, you'll be making $300 per week, or well over $1,000 per month. You've also got experience with the game matched by maybe 1,000 people or so in the entire world. Now you're going to take that expertise and write an adventure, sourcebook, or standalone RPG. It really doesn't matter what, so long as you keep the total length somewhere under 200 pages or so, no matter how many stretch goals you hit. Because your goal here is to learn how Kickstarter works and get a bare minimum successful project under your belt. Once you've got it written out, either reach out to people who can do formatting, I still do not know what the term for that job is, or sink time into doing it yourself. You need to be doing it at a professional standard, so if you do learn to do it yourself, you may have to invest in some proper software, and you will very probably need to take at least a few weeks at a bare minimum to learn how. You will also need to build up a library of fonts and stuff. I've always just hired out because I never wanted to invest the time, energy, or money needed to learn how myself, plus this makes my pipeline more streamlined in its final form. Someone else is formatting one book while I'm writing the next so we can deliver more quickly. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. For now, get a quote from your layout person for how much it would take to format a book of the length you're producing, double that figure, and that is your initial goal for your Kickstarter. Your Kickstarter should last for 15 days, you should have the original intro video and then 4 update videos for the 4th, 7th, 10th, and 13th day of the project, each one focusing in on a specific aspect of your project. They don't have to be long, but each should be clearly distinct from the others, and they should be features that are uncommon or non-existent in other sourcebooks, things that make you stand out. If your project doesn't have 4 different cool things to talk about, go back to writing it until it does. Once you have these 4 update videos, you should be able to draw attention using Kickstarter's algorithms alone. Famous people talk about how they pull in tons of traffic from Reddit or Twitter. You're not famous, that won't work. But the Kickstarter community has your back. Famous people also talk about how they get dozens, if not hundreds, of new comments and messages every day. But you're not famous, so you're going to get 2. Once you have your updates recorded, all you have to do is remember to post them, and the Kickstarter practically runs itself. I've run Kickstarters from a convention and while on vacation, and it had basically no effect. Commission a full-color cover illustration from Fiverr to put in the videos. This will cost you somewhere between $100 and $200, and then record your videos with a pan or slow zoom over the cover. You don't need anything fancy in animation, just bare-bones motion to keep things from being totally static while you talk about the cool stuff in your book. For interior illustrations, you can use the collection from my own books, which is available under a royalty-free Creative Commons license for Pay What You Want from DriveThruRPG and itch.io. Links are in the description. This is over 100 black and white fantasy illustrations covering a broad enough variety of things, and I plan to keep adding to it for as long as I'm still making enough money to commission new art. So you should be able to illustrate a book on almost any topic reasonably well, purely off of that folder. You'll still want to stretch goal for custom illustrations to really show off what makes your project unique, but you can keep the base goal low by relying on these free options. You're welcome. For rewards, you want a $1 reward where people are included in the special thanks but otherwise receive no reward. The next level will be your base level reward, how much it costs to get a base copy of whatever it is you're selling, and then you'll want vanity rewards at whatever thresholds of $15, $25, $50, $100, and $250 are above that. So if your base reward is already $20, say you have a 200-page PDF, you can probably skip up to $50 for vanity rewards. But if your base reward is only $15, you have a slightly shorter PDF, your first vanity reward should be at $25. And of course, print options can also fit into this ladder. Vanity rewards can be things like signed copies, villager NPCs in an adventure, having their characters be used in example encounters or combats used to demonstrate game mechanics as a sort of iconic character, being included in the book as a boss character, having a spell or feat named after their character, things like that. High value rewards are probably going to be a lot of effort on your part, so make sure they're of a limited quantity. It's very important you don't let this first project get out of hand because its main purpose is just to teach you how Kickstarter works and get you comfortable with the delivering. You only need to make about $500 to make this a success, so if you can't think of a good $250 or $100 vanity reward, just leave them out entirely. $50 is already 10% of the way there. That's plenty enough to get them from a single backer. You also might want to consider releasing your first project as electronic only so you don't have to worry about figuring out how to make print work right away. Print isn't super hard, but when you're doing 100 new things for your Kickstarter, the 101st can be daunting no matter how easy it would be on its own. If you do this, you'll want to run a second Kickstarter after your first one is fulfilled, this one with a print option. In any case, you'll want to run and totally fulfill at least 3 different Kickstarters before you move on, both to ensure that you know how to deliver a project and to prove to Kickstarter staff that you can do so. As we'll discuss in Step 6, Kickstarter staff doesn't like it when someone tries to set up overlapping projects in a pipeline, and it helps to be able to point to a consistent track record of delivery when you're trying to do that. Step 6. At this point, you're ready for Takeoff. A good tabletop Kickstarter can make between $2,000 and $4,000 of profit. If you can make one of those per month, you're making full-time money off of that alone. Zine-sized books can absolutely be written, illustrated, and formatted on a monthly basis, but you'll need to set up an overlapping fulfillment pipeline. Every project is going to run on a 3-month schedule. In the first month, you write up a complete first draft of the work. In the second month, you run the Kickstarter. In the third month, you finish up formatting and printing to fulfill the project. Since your Kickstarters basically run themselves and fulfillment is just coordinating illustrators and formatters while doing little direct work yourself, neither of those phases will take much effort from you, so you can instead focus most of your efforts on handling the writing phase personally. By the third month, you'll be fulfilling the first project, kickstarting the second, and writing the third. Ideally, you want at least a PDF version of your first project delivered by the time your second project starts kickstarting, in order to demonstrate to both Kickstarter staff and your audience that your pipeline is actually that efficient and you're not trying to pull a scam. You might have to delay by a month while you finish fulfillment of the first project before kickstarting the second, but eventually both Kickstarter staff and your audience will get that your pipeline really is that efficient. Initially, your projects might get just 100 or 200 backers, but as you continue releasing every month reliably, you should build up to above 300 with just a couple of projects. It only took me 4. I've consistently been able to get an average back of $15 to $20 on my monthly projects, which have a $5 base reward for the PDF, $12 for a print version, $25 for a signed copy, and then project-specific vanity rewards going up to at least $250, occasionally higher. With 300 plus backers using that system, you should be able to pull in $5,000 or more, and even with flakes, transaction fees, and printing and shipping costs, you should be able to get something like $2,000 from Kickstarter alone. You'll have additional long-tail income from your books on DriveThruRPG and itch.io, plus your income from professional GMing. As games wrap up, you should probably pull back from 5 or 6 games to 3 or 4, but even if your Kickstarters are making enough money to live on them alone, don't give up on running games completely. You need them to maintain your ability to create interesting new content. With this pipeline, you should be making at least $30,000 a year, maybe as much as $40,000 or even $50,000, without ever having to win the lottery on YouTube fame or get hired out by Paizo or Wizards. According to Sean K. Reynolds, $50,000 is some of the best money an RPG designer can expect to make from the corporate clowns running the big labels. So if you take one thing from this video, let it be that the corps trying to exploit your labor will never pay you as much money as the community is willing to give you directly. Going indie doesn't mean sacrificing money for creative control. Going indie will make you more money.